Hello everybody, welcome back. YouTube.com/Geek Aloud for another Let's Install. Today, Final Fantasy XVI's turn onto it. PlayStation 5, this one. We are going to go ahead and kick off the download. Then if we bounce all the way back out to the dashboard, hopefully it'll appear here next to Call of Duty any moment. There it is. And if we pull up the uploads, downloads list and jump in, I can tell you Final Fantasy XVI digitally installing onto a PlayStation 5 currently is 90.978 gigabytes. That is, of course, the native PlayStation 5 edition of Final Fantasy XVI going onto a PlayStation 5. We'll fully install the 90.978 gigs, and then we'll open up the settings menu, jump in, see if there's any recommendations to changes. You know, turn off subtitles maybe, disable motion blur. If there's a performance mode, maybe flick it into that. We'll check out the accessibilities, see if there's any options there worth noting. And then, as we always do on the Let's Installs, we'll bounce back out to the dashboard. I'll pull up the particulars, give you the current version number and the full and complete install size, as it will differ from the download size. There's some compression that takes place. But we'll wrap all that up at the end of the episode once the install is complete. While I've got you, let me encourage you to check out a gaming enforcement agency. It's our video games podcast here on Geek Aloud. I highly encourage you to check out episode 88, the most recent one we did. It's a very enjoyable watch, full of video gaming news. But for now, let's install Final Fantasy XVI right here, youtube.com/Geek Aloud. installed Final Fantasy 16 onto a PlayStation 5 digitally right here, youtube.com/Geek Aloud. Let's boot it on up now, find that main menu, dive into the settings, and make any recommendations. All right, here we are at the Final Fantasy 16 main menu. Let's open up the config settings, see what we've got available. Wireless controller vibration, yes please. Adaptive triggers, yes thanks. Target lock, toggle on off, yes please. Cycle with R3, that's fine. And photo mode shortcut disabled, gotta love that. Camera sensitivity, I'll leave those by default, but if it's a bit sluggish in game, come back here to tweak it. You can invert the sticks. It's not something that I use, but it's available there if you're so inclined. Follow targets off, player follow movement on, player follow attack off. On, excuse me. Game mode, graphics, nope. We want frame rate. We want that 60 frames a second. I definitely recommend flicking it over to frame rate. And motion blur, take it all the way to 0. You want to disable that entirely. Screen brightness, I won't go through the config here. For me, I'll leave it as default, but as I've got the 2 studio lights in my eyes, but you should definitely take the time to set it up for yourself. Master volume 70%, I'll leave that as default. Controller audio's on. Visual alerts are off, yeah, that's fine. Standard stuff there for audio. Video, voiceover, English, subtitles off by default, gotta love that. Speaker names, leave that off. And NPC chatterlog is on, I'll leave that fine. And there is a full button map. So, they're the recommendations, and that is the full settings available. Let's bounce on out now to the dashboard, pull up the particulars, and wrap up this here. Let's install of Final Fantasy 16 onto a PlayStation 5. Currently, you're installing version 1.002.001, and that is a full and complete install size of 91.03 gigabytes. Thank you very much for watching another Let's Install right here on Geek Aloud. Please do check out the Gaming Enforcement Agency. It's our video games podcast here on Geek Aloud. What else can you do with the channel? Like it, subscribe it, you'll never miss it. Oh, that was luck. Hey, that's something. Oh! Old Uncle Donkey. Donkey.